This is Algebra Lesson 4.1b. This is the warm-up available for you on your Schoology assignment. Our objectives today are to graph a line in a slope-intercept form equation, and to also write the equation of a line given a graph and writing it in slope-intercept form. Now for slope-intercept form, we talked about this in our last section when we used recursive routines. So our recursive routines were linear equations as well, and we started off by writing them in this form, y equals b plus mx. But the more common way of writing this is y equals mx plus b. You can see it's the exact same components, just switched around. Now m stands for the slope or the rate of change, and b stands for your y-intercept or the zero term. And that's the true in both cases. So this is also for this one and this one. Again, there's no difference between these. Both ways of writing it would be correct. In example A, we're just identifying the slope and the y-intercept for each of these lines. So I'll do the first one, and then I'd like you to pause the video and try the rest of them on your own, and then check your answers. Now remember, the slope, if we have it in this form, mx plus b, the slope is the first thing because it's next to the x. If we write it in the other direction, the slope is the last number, but it's still next to the x. So we're always looking for the item next to the x, the coefficient of the x. So m stands for slope. In this case, it would be the number 3. The b stands for the y-intercept, and that would be the plane number, and in this case, it is a positive 2. So again, pause the video and try the remainders on your own. And here are the results of the last few problems. Now, some of these are tricky because of the minus signs. So this one was pretty easy because you can see it's clearly a negative number for the slope. But remember that we always have a plus in between here. So since this said minus 5, it is a negative 5 for the y-intercept. Same for part C, where it said minus 8x. And it should usually be a plus here. So that's why it's a negative 8 for the slope. In the next problems, we're going to draw the line given the starting value and the slope. Now it is in y-intercept or slope-intercept form. So first we need to pick out what is the y-intercept. So in this case, it is a positive 2. So I'm going to go on the y-axis and place a point at the value 2. Now my slope tells me the rise and run. So from this point, I want to rise 3 and run 5. So starting at my y-intercept, I'm going to go up 3. 1, 2, 3, and run to the right 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We always go to the right. Now I can go in reverse. So 3/5 is the same thing as negative 3 over negative 5. So I could also go down 3, left 5. And that would repeat the same process. Now to make the line, I would just connect my points. And now I have this line drawn, which is this equation. So any value I put in for x, I would get an answer for y, and that would be any coordinate point along this line. So why don't you take a moment and try part 2 on this example. So number 2. All right, on number 2, we started at a value of negative 3. So down here, that's my y-intercept. Now my slope has negative 6/5. So I know it's going to go down. Now, negative 6/5 can be rewritten as negative 6 over 5 or 6 over negative 5. So if I do this first one, negative 6 over 5, I would start at the negative 3, go down 6, and write 5. Unfortunately, my graph was not big enough for that. So I'm going to go to this method, the opposite, just like we did on example 1. I'm going to go up 6, but left 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And that would produce the same pattern. Still a downward slope. It's still following that negative 6/5 that if we were going to go to the down and right, it would follow the same pattern. So this is the correct method for number 2. For number 3, we have a whole number for our slope. It is not a fraction. So anytime you want to count your rise and run and it's not a fraction, you just put it over 1. In number 4, you can do the same thing, but notice there's no coefficient written in front of the x. So there's always that 1 value in front of any variable, and I can divide it by 1 to get the fraction. So why don't you try number 3 and number 4, and then check your results. All right, looking at question number 3, my y-intercept was the value -2. That was the plane number, so that's right here in blue. And then I had a positive 3 over 1, so I rose up 3 over 1. And I continue doing that pattern until I run out of room. Now 3 over 1 is also the same as -3 over -1. The negatives would cancel to make a positive. So instead of going up 3 and right 1, I could also continue the pattern down 3 and left 1. That's where the negatives come in. On number 4, my starting value was the value of 1. And then I had the slope -1 over 1. So I went down 1, right 1, down 1, right 1. And again, continuing that pattern until I ran out of room. Now because this was my starting value, I could go in the reverse order. Up 1, left 1. Continuing that pattern all the way through my graph. In example C, this time we're going to write the equation in slope-intercept form. So remember, either way, mx plus b or b plus mx would be correct. What we're looking for is the y-intercept and then the slope. So in number 1, I can see that my y-intercept is right here at a value of 1. I need to locate another point along my graph, right here, and I'm going to do a slope triangle, my rise and my run. Now my rise is going down 3 and 1, 2, 3, 4 over. So for my equation, if I'm going to start with my slope, it would be -3/4 x plus the starting value of 1. If I want to start with my y-intercept, I'd have 1 plus -3/4 x. You could also write it 1 minus 3/4 x because of that negative sign. Pause the video and try part 2 on your own. This one is kind of unique because the starting value, or the y-intercept, is the value 0. So when I put it into the equation, the plus 0, we don't really need to write that. I also found the slope to be a rise of 3, a run of 4. So I have my slope 3/4 x plus 0, or you could just write it 3/4 x, or you could switch it around and have 0 plus 3/4 x. All of those are correct answers. Okay, we have 2 more examples to try. So on this next one, I'll demonstrate it with you. We have a starting value of 2. So my b value equals 2. Now I'm looking for another point along the graph, and it can be any point. I see one right here, one right here, one right here. All of those are good, so I'm just going to pick one. And I'm going to make my slope triangle. Now this is going down 3 again, but this time over 3. So my slope is -3 over 3. Or the value -1. So when I go to write my equation, I have -1x plus the starting value of 2. Or you could reverse it, 2 minus 1x. Please pause the video and try number 4 on your own. After finding 2 points and calculating the rise and run, I see that the starting value, or y-intercept, is -4. It's right here. And I find the rise and run to be 5/3. So my equation would be y equals 5/3 x minus 4, or y equals -4 plus 5/3 x. And here's the problems that we'll be practicing regarding this material.